Hello and welcome to Women in Retail Talks. I'm Christina Stidham, Associate Content Editor at the Women in Retail Leadership Circle, and today I'm joined by Jan Crowett, CEO and founder of Winston Retail and So Major, an exclusive series of pop-up shopping events around the country. Today we're going to be talking about So Major's event themes and products, why the pop-up model is important to retail today, and best practices for other retailers who are looking to try out the pop-up shop model. So Jan, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you, Christina. I'm happy to be here.
Great, and I gave a brief introduction about you, but could we start with you telling us a little bit more about yourself and your background?
Sure. Well, my career has primarily been in brands, such as like a Ralph Lauren, the Polo Jeans division, Kenneth Cole Productions, and then I guess my last brand was Levi Strauss. And within these brands, I was responsible for the retail development departments, which included how the brand really came to life at retail by designing the space that it was presented in, first and foremost in the showroom, what that then looked like as a common theme throughout brick and mortar stores, shops in, let's say, wholesale accounts, pop-up shops or mobile, and everything having a consistent footprint as it related to how they approach the customer across like all visual touch points. In these companies, I led teams of architects or interior designers, project managers to kind of build the vision. And then lastly, a team of merchandise coordinators that would go in and then merchandise the product like on the selling floors. So the opportunity to have all these functions in a brand today is a luxury for only very large brands. And I had the idea to bring this same type of team together to work on multiple brands and offer this service as a turnkey approach for an agency to then work with smaller brands or bigger brands on an ad hoc basis and focusing on apparel, footwear, and accessories. And that's how really the business started. We now have expanded into beauty, home, electronics over the last 15 years. And we work with over 110 brands ranging from, let's say, an Under Armour, Adidas, in the beauty world, Estee Lauder. In electronics, it's ranging from like a Verizon and Samsung to online brands that are now looking at becoming visible in brick and mortar, which is like a Bombas socks or Casper mattresses. And then we also work with like smaller brands like a Barber or a John Hardy in jewelry, etc.
Great. So you have really a strong background to be offering these retailers and brands a space like you're doing in So Major. So let's talk about the So Major pop-up shops. I looked at your website and you described the pop-up shops as an inclusively exclusive series of curated pop-up events around the country. Can you elaborate more on what you're doing with these pop-up shops?
Sure. Well, you know, how this all started was because at Winston, I would go to several of our either new brands or existing clients that we have, and they always were asking me what's happening in retail, what's new out there. And inevitably, the conversation would go to pop-ups because they are so popular right now. They would then ask us to do a proposal and bringing them a pop-up. And usually there was a high cost of entry. It was a lot more expensive than what they had thought. And, you know, I was giving these proposals many times. And at the end of the day, one night, I just thought to myself, why are we're bringing all these people to one or two pop-ups? Why are we not bringing the pop-ups to where there are people? So in my head, you know, the concept is where the destination of where these pop-ups could go to like a communal workspace. It could be in a college campus. There's a lot of space in movie theaters. Of course, they are in shopping malls, right? Because that's kind of a target-rich environment. But really, it's limitless where this can go. The idea of music festivals, food and wine festivals all over the country. It's really wherever people are, we can be. The concept is 7 to 10 items presented in a thematic showcase. And these items are online only or Instagram brands, or if they're an exclusive brand, they can launch a new product or have an early release or a special colorway or size, but it has to be a unique item. The presentation that it then is presented in is designed to be mobile it's easy to transport, easy to set up, and can be customized based on the graphics that are applied to it, as well as the size or the props. Um, our current one that we did in June, we're doing 5 locations of these pop-ups at a time, and that's really to maximize the cross-marketing opportunities or brand impressions, as well as the sales. And then each of the brands are then contributing to the cost and the benefits of the cross-marketing, the exposure, and then the opportunity to reach this many more people for sales. I'd say the marketing of a larger brand is then propelling the brand awareness of a smaller brand. And then each brand that is contributing to the overall cost is making this much more achievable for all the brands to participate in general. It also will allow us to, I think, test markets for products. And we can not only showcase the products, we're educating the shoppers through these brand ambassadors that we have on site, which we're calling majorettes, by the way. And they're helping to facilitate a sale directly through our So Major technology, which is basically an affiliate model. We take a username, an email, and then a link goes directly to the shopper or the consumer, and then they can shop directly through the brand's websites through a hidden URL. What this allows is that it makes the entire process of this product exclusive to the So Major pop-up, and then it's only found during the duration of the event, plus another 30 days at somajorshop.com, and also our fan base who signs up to our newsletter.
That's really interesting. So the customer would come into the pop-up physical location and then be able to continue shopping using that private and exclusive link on the retailer's site for the next 30 days?
Yes, and they can also then forward the exclusive URL to anybody else, via email or text. I mean, they can, so we're kind of developing a community of people that have discovered this and then are referring it to friends.
Excellent. And you, at the beginning of your answer, you touched on the themes that you put together for these pop-up shops. I want to go back to that and talk about why you decided to focus products into themes in that way. And then you mentioned also the brands and how they're working together in your shops. I'm wondering if you could name a couple of brands or what types of brands that you're looking to feature in So Major shops.
Sure. Well, first we took the theme approach, and we did this. It can really vary. So the theme can either be something we come up with, such as health and wellness. It could also be a theme that we collab with a named curator. So, for example, the first one that we curated, called Health and Wellness. It was in June. It was a 3-day pop-up in 5 locations. Within that pop-up, we had, anything from a Fitbit, which is obviously a widely known name, to a smaller brand like Uni, which is so we kind of had a thematic approach of a water bottle. We had yoga wear. We had Pravakana, which is a yoga mat that can be customized with photography on it. We had Mikey's, which is a paleo-friendly and organic food meal kit item. So we brought along items that people know, or brands that people know, and also brands that people may be just discovering. When we did the pop-up in June, we popped up in LA, San Diego, the SF Bay Area, and New Jersey. And then at the end of June, we transitioned into a travel theme. And why that is because we also worked with Westfield. So Westfield was part of the first 5 locations. And then I was very interested because Westfield actually manages multiple retail in airports across the United States. So the second one we did was travel, that we did in key mall locations with Westfield again, as well as 2 airports, which was LAX Term 1 and JFK Term 8. And I was interested in this because Westfield does manage many retail sections in multiple airports across the United States. Um, our next curation is Pet Essentials, which will be super fun. That will also be in malls. And we then partnered with a premium hotel for mid-August. They really felt that the pet curation would be great for their customer, and it's a more upscale hotel. And then in mid-September, we're trying a different model and working with an influencer. So we have Alyssa in the City, who is a highly followed influencer from the fashion industry, both on Instagram and blog features, due to her pedigree. She is going to curate the brands and the items for what is going to be popping up in LA, San Diego, San Francisco, and then New York in the Oculus, which we are very excited about.
Wow, yeah, that sounds really cool. So that actually touches on my next two questions. I wanted to talk about the JFK and the LAX pop-ups specifically, because that's really interesting and shakes up the airport shopping concept where you traditionally see retailers kind of set there for many, many years in long-term leases. Not really a lot of pop-ups in airports yet. I'm wondering what else, what other opportunities do you see in airports? And maybe you could also relate this back into your next pop-up, which you said is at a luxury hotel. What opportunities do you see in those kinds of spaces?
Sure. Well, first off, we see an opportunity because there's a captive audience. The retail offering in the airports has improved greatly. However, the traffic going through, particularly these two locations that we tried in June, the shoppers are just as excited to preview new cool products, and they often have time to stop. They have time to listen and learn about the product and eventually buy. Be it that the items can be purchased and shipped directly to home is also an advantage, particularly for travelers. We feel that we have an opportunity to present things that are new, ever changing. I think they can be relevant as far as time and on trend, a little bit more than the current cadence of what is offered at an airport. And we're really, be able to tell a story that the next time when someone's going through that airport, or really it could be any place that we're popping up, they're going to look for us again. So if we're making something really compelling to them, and that is timely, it should be something that somebody's seeking.
Right. It's a pretty great customer experience if your flight is delayed, you're waiting around, and then all of a sudden you have these exclusive brands popping up at the terminal next to you, and you can go check it out while you're waiting. I think that's awesome. And
yes.
I'm sure you get a lot of people coming and visiting. Just another question, how many people do you, on average, have you seen at your current pop-ups? I know you've only done it a few times, but have you gotten the rate of people that you've wanted?
Well, we had actually, the airport was surprising. We actually had more people at the airport than we had anticipated originally. And to be honest with you, I think that also had to do with the product offering, because much of the items that we showed had some unique features, such as a protect your tail, which has a high SPF for apparel. So that really particularly resonated with people, as well as like Nomader, who makes a foldable plastic reusable water bottle. So I think the items really drove that. As far as the shopping malls that we've done, depending on the mall, we've had very high traffic. For a Century City as an example, they calculate they have over 100,000 people that come in within a 3-day period. We were given prime real estate within Century City, and we generated quite a bit of interest as well as sales as it relates to that particular location. And we've learned a lot after we've done the initial pop-ups and how we are improving on it as we move forward.
Great. And another question here, how do you and So Major promote your events? So you mentioned that you're going to be partnering with an influencer upcoming. You have these on-site brand ambassadors, but specifically on social media, are you active with influencers on social?
Yes, so we've hired a global PR firm for So Major to speak about our concept and our brands. We've hired influencers that have been rooted in the themes of the events. So for an example would be for health and wellness, we brought in people who are brand ambassadors speaking on behalf of a lifestyle that are promoting the products to gain more traction on all social media outlets, not just on Instagram, but also Facebook and LinkedIn. We also have editorial that has run in Forbes, WWD, Yahoo Finance, for example, as well as hundreds of regional feeds. And we're continuing to promote this ongoing. We also have online ads running, promoting our brand, as well as themed activations such as the Facebook Network, Instagram, Google Merchant, Center for Advertising. So each brand is also asked to participate on their social feeds, editorial or any like internal or I think external promotional outlets they use. And they're promoting their brand, but they're also promoting So Major and the cross-marketing of the brands that are within the theme. So we're really leveraging all the 10 brands that have come together, as well as our host location. In June's case, it was Westfield. We were on all of their location feeds and social media, as well as for both airports.
Great. Yeah. So each brand participates and you kind of get that cross-marketing effect, gathering their audience and bolstering yours. That's great. And now I want to turn it to some more of your industry insights about pop-ups specifically. So we know they're becoming more and more popular. All kinds of retailers and brands are trying them out, as is the case within the So Major shops as well, like you said. I want to know your thoughts about why you think the pop-up model is important, especially for these D2C online brands right now in retail and looking forward.
Yeah, my belief is that the customer still wants to touch and feel and experience a product. The customer also loves the sense of discovery. I think all being kind of a personal experience that's unique and coveted. I think pop-ups offer this experience for brands. I mean, to what extent a brand wants to immerse their customer is varied, I think, based on, what they're willing to spend for a location, for the actual space build out itself, or even the activation at the space. But our goal is to really offer an accessible and affordable way for brands to do this, and has been received really well. And then also our ability to provide trained sales ambassadors who reflect the theme and speak to the unique attributes of each of these brands and products thoroughly is really key to the success of a sale and brand awareness. I mean, at So Major, we want to keep this an elevated approach. And since everyone on the team has come from brands in the past, we kind of know the expectations and understand how protective each brand needs to be to maintain the standard for themselves. And our goal is that we really want to enhance this brand experience, kind of while providing it in a So Major context. So I just feel like brands need to research how they actualize themselves in a physical format. And hopefully this is a way that they can see that as a possibility.
Right, and that flows exactly into my next question. Could you tell us a few best practices that you could give to other retailers who are looking to experiment with pop-ups and get into the pop-up shop?
Well, product will always remain king. I mean, the experience to me is second. I've seen many amazing looking pop-ups that I think once you walk in, and when you look at the product, if it's not at the same level, it doesn't completely deliver a full experience for you. I think the product and the presentation have to be at the same level. And you really want that customer converted for a long time. So keeping product as the driver is paramount because that's ever changing. All aspects, I think, of a pop-up need to really be considered. Location is one thing, but the customer journey of how somebody discovers that product in the space. And then equally important is the customer service, because any retailer, this is kind of 101, but when you do pop-ups, it's hard because you're going into so many different locations and it may be for a short period of time, but that customer service is really leaving your lasting impression on the customer. So I really think you have to be able to achieve it on all three aspects, both the product, the customer journey, and again, the customer service.
Awesome. And my last question for you, Jan, what are your future plans for So Major looking ahead? How do you see this expanding, and where are you hoping to take it in growth?
Well, I see So Major as the context for many types of themes, as well as, if the concept of one brand taking over a whole event. I see it kind of as a vehicle to test retail markets. I see this at many, many locations with, suggestions of where this could come up or pop up is coming really from clients, colleagues, brands, pretty much everywhere. I mean, I feel, really the sky is the limit with this due to the flexibility, I think the ease of the setup, and also that it's a cost-efficient option. Our relationships with brands and retailers is vast, both from Winston and then due to the people that have been brought to So Major. However, now the demand has kind of begun for brands seeking us to participate. And so it's a great place to be now.
Awesome. Jan, thank you so much for joining me on this episode. I really think that you have a strong business strategy here with the pop-ups, and it's something that's going to become really, really important to retail. As we've already seen that you're getting a lot of foot traffic, and brands are seeing great benefits from participating in your pop-up shop. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening. For more information on this podcast, please check out our podcast channel page at wirlc.com/podcasts for show notes. Women in Retail Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and Spotify. Make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a few moments to rate and review this podcast. Thanks, and until next time, this has been Women in Retail Talks.